If I had to sum up today's entire video in a single word, it would be psychopathic. I think that word gets thrown around a lot when it comes to influencers because some of them never seem to know where to draw the line when it comes to how far they're willing to get views. But the streamer we're talking about today has apparently decided that there is no line and has instead endangered not only his life, but the life of his cameraman, putting them both through a near-death experience and then asking the cameraman to continue filming while he was standing there bleeding in shock. So yeah, I think psychopath is a pretty fair term for this influencer at least, Jack Doherty. And while people are talking about this literal wreck because it's all over the news, a lot of people have missed Jack's subsequent response that he just dropped less than 24 hours ago, in which he blatantly lies about things that we're going to disprove looking at his own stream. But first, welcome, my name is D'Angelo, and I am your professor of subatomic color theory, which is a very real degree that I definitely do have. Or maybe this is just me broadcasting myself talking in my room like YouTube used to be. And in today's lecture, we unfortunately get to see what YouTube is now. Crashing your car and then trying to spin that into content. Assuming your audience is dumb enough that you can just lie to their face. And unfortunately, managing to get a bunch of attention in the process. And what makes things like this immensely frustrating is because it's almost impossible to talk about them without giving attention to these people. But with this content just willy-nilly being uploaded to YouTube, I still think it's very important to call it out. So this is Jack Doherty, a 20-year-old YouTuber, kick streamer, or at least he was a kick streamer. He got banned after this incident. And if you poke around the news right now, you'll see everybody reporting the insane headline, YouTuber crashes $200,000 McLaren sports car while live streaming. Now, if I could just offer some constructive criticism, NBC and People magazine, I think YouTuber Jack Doherty sends cameraman to hospital due to live streamed car crash would do a slightly better job of explaining the real problem here. Like the fact that the price of the car is mentioned in several of these articles is insane to me. You could have done this in like a $2,000 hand-me-down and it would have been equally heinous in my opinion. But anyway, first we're going to take a look at what Jack says about the crash and the very specific way he's framed all of this to look like some kind of victim. And then we're going to go back and look at the longer footage from the stream where we can see this is completely on him. Crashed my McLaren. Glad we're both okay. So in this video, you can see the aftermath of the crash as he holds on to his vlogging camera for dear life as people try to help him out of this totaled vehicle, which by the way, the amount of concerned strangers in this video who are helping him, well, except for that guy, he's kind of filming, which kind of proves the whole problem with all of this in the first place. But seriously, as you can see, Jack is imposing on everybody here, backing up traffic, all because he crashed his McLaren into this guardrail. Also, even in this video, the very first thing Jack says is, "Oh no, my car, it's broken.
My car! Holy sh**, no!"
And then he walks over to the other side where there is, you know, a human passenger. And that's when he asks his cameraman if he's okay.
No! Michael, are you good?
Even devoid of context, this video is insane. As you can see, this car has been totaled. It is a complete freak accident that both of these people are still alive. I have almost never seen the front half of a car just disappear. Also, as if this wasn't scummy enough, underneath this car crash footage, he posts, check out my links for more. For more what, Jack? Car crashes? Oh no, of course, his OnlyFans and his VIP OnlyFans. And the girls' OnlyFans. What? You're running other people's OnlyFans accounts? Oh, and this online casino he's promoting, Kurgo.com. Literally gambling. Okay, great. So I mean, already he's trying to spin this incident into more promo. He then posts this image along with this tweet. I'm going to post a more detailed response today, but it's been 24 hours since the accident, and I just want to say how grateful I am that Michael and I are alive. I'm so sorry, Michael, for putting you through that. Thank you to all the first responders and everyone who helped us get out of the car. This could have been so much worse, and it's a huge learning lesson. Yeah, how much you want to bet that he's not going to learn it, though? I feel like the lesson is going to go quite unlearned. I'm no gambler, but I would make that bet in a heartbeat. So that's Jack's attempted presentation of this as just a crash that he survived and ruined his car, boo-hoo. Never mind the OnlyFans and gambling promo, that's just a tangent. Really, he's just grateful to be alive. But even here on this note he posted, Twitter users were quick to add their own community note, pointing out that Jack left out the full context, which was that he was speeding and on his phone in wet conditions during the crash. He also told his injured cameraman to hold up a phone and record him instead of tending to his injuries. And this is all on camera. It's just not on Jack's account. I wonder why. So I'm not going to show footage of an actual car crash, but here they are mere moments before the crash where you can see Jack on his phone doing something. Visibility is extremely poor.
Oh! Oh! go!
And then Jack's speed increases and he loses control. The car starts veering in the opposite direction he's turning, and that is how they wind up eating the guardrail. Literally, if things had gone slightly different, both of the people in this video would be dead right now. It's insane. Also, this is kind of tricky to see, but right before they crash, you can see the 43 miles per hour. Keep that in mind because that's going to come back up in a big way. So we have this footage because it was being live streamed to Kick, and I guess even the platform in which they gleefully allow their streamers to promote gambling to kids has to draw the line somewhere. Thus, Jack Doherty's page was wiped. So even just the fact that he was using his phone while driving in the rain while live streaming shows that this car crash, as much as I hate to say it, was self-inflicted. Traffic accidents happen. People get into crashes and it's absolutely not their fault. But make no mistake, this is 100% Jack's own doing. But if that's not enough to prove he's clearly a horrible person with no regard for other people's lives, he just straight up demonstrates that point blank. So Jack's cameraman, Michael, who is in the car, is bleeding from the head at this point profusely. I prefer not to show it here because this man's bloodied face has been plastered all over the internet and I have no idea how he feels about it. But just know that it was bad to the point where he needed stitches on his face. And so the cameraman's just kind of standing there like this the whole time. You know, he's not really saying much. He's not really looking around. And I'm fairly certain that anybody with a conscience or, I don't know, a brain would be able to identify that as shock. But this is what Jack does with that information.
There's no... Michael, here. Michael, do you have film on that phone too? No.
Boo-hoo my car. Michael, here, record me. Are you getting this? Okay. Boo-hoo my car, guys. There's no way. This person is not right. There's something extremely wrong with Jack Doherty. I can think of a lot of terrible influencers, but I can count on one hand the amount of people who I think would do that. So that was my introduction to Jack Doherty. First, you see the truth he's presenting, then you zoom out and see the actual truth. But then, when NBC reported on it, they zoomed out a bit further and proved that somehow this man is even worse than he seems right now. So I had never seen so much as a single Jack Doherty clip in my life. I had no idea how lucky I was. But as NBC says, he's known for prank videos and wealth flaunting. And as NBC put it, wrecking his McLaren was the latest incident in which Doherty has crashed a vehicle on camera. What do you mean latest? That was my thought when I read this. So here he is in March, crashing his off-road vehicle. 30 seconds after getting it, he says, hashtag Jack Doherty. When you look at this clip, it's a miracle he didn't somehow break his neck at this point. And then it says, in November, Doherty faced similarly heavy criticism for crashing a golf cart he was driving with his girlfriend in it, flipping the cart in her direction. I literally thought I just broke your neck. I tried to hold it, Doherty says in the video. Golf cart's fine though. I say this with absolutely no hyperbole. This man is like actually a menace to society. And just looking at the YouTube video in question is insane. I flipped a golf cart on my girlfriend. And then you go to his channel and 3 months ago, I crashed into a cop car. I put my girlfriend in the hospital. I crashed my Lamborghini. Again, this is a different video. And now, here he is 17 hours ago. We almost died trying to monetize this crash. So am I saying that Jack Doherty crashed his car on purpose? No, I can't because I'm not in his head and I thank God for that every day. But can I point out that this is like what? The 5th, 6th time that he has attempted to use crashing a vehicle for views? As the saying goes, once is a chance, twice is a coincidence, and 3 times is a pattern. And 6 times is like, how is this not on purpose is my question. We almost died. I wish your channel would die, honestly. YouTube would be a much better place. Like, honestly, I can't even bring myself to give this another view. So, I'm actually not going to. Here's the video. We're gonna watch it not on YouTube.
My McLaren is totaled a couple days before my 21st birthday.
Even as his car is being towed away, he's making real sure to get that good YouTube hook in there. Oh, I gotta turn this into content. My McLaren was totaled a week before my 21st. Anyways, heads up, more psychopath behavior incoming.
Sadness can't even express how sad I actually am. At least my Richard Mill's still okay. Just kidding.
You literally have workers out here in the pouring rain in reflective jackets trying not to get hit on the highway because they are towing your McLaren and you're out here joking about, oh, at least my expensive watch is okay. I'm sorry, what laboratory did they grow this man in? Like, this is not normal human behavior. You have made this the problem of first responders, like medical professionals, law enforcement, everybody who was behind you who had to help you, the tow truck operators, your cameraman who could have died, and you're still rolling. That's the part I can't wrap my head around. How is your camera still on right now? Anyway, the next scene is possibly one of the most pathetic things I've seen. And we've got Jack trying to rewrite history about the crash and explain how he wasn't even really going that fast. Keep in mind that this is a conversation he's having while recording his cameraman getting stitches put on his head.
And then also on top of that, we crashed like 42 miles per hour.
I know, we weren't even going fast.
At all. Like, if we were going, double the speed, we probably would have been dead.
We crashed at 42 miles per hour, he says. And if you have a sharp memory, you may think to yourself, yeah, that seems about right. Because right before things went downhill, 43 was the last visible number. But let's get back a few frames. Just a few frames in this video. And we'll see it was actually 46, 54. And that right before Jack started trying to turn and the car went in the opposite direction, he was going 70 miles per hour. Now, granted, as he was speeding up, he was saying, oh no, whoa, thus indicating he was somehow losing control of his speed. Hydroplaning is a thing, which is why you should pay the utmost attention while driving in the rain. But once again, the camera is not working out in Jack's favor here. Take a look at the very first frame of the video and tell me what you see. The man was going 70 miles per hour. That is 67. And look at this. You have him right here, looking at his phone, and just a slight pan over shows. Even though this is kind of hard to read, you can see it when you slow it down very easily. 71, which goes up to 72 before it goes off screen and we can't see it anymore. He was flooring it, y'all. He was going over 70 miles per hour on his phone, in the rain, on camera. It's genuinely open and shut. There's no discussion to be had about this. And this is before he crashed. He was having no issue right there. That's why he was banned, because as Kick points out, it was illegal activity. Now, I will say, since when has Kick ever really cared about illegal activity? They've got to be like the worst streaming platform of all time. But anyways, that being said, to now sit here and say you were going 42 miles per hour, you weren't even going that fast. How did this happen? You actually caught yourself in 4K. Like, this is astonishing when you really think about it. Anyway, now it's time for some good old-fashioned delusion.
Everyone's so quick to put some on me on social media. No one's gone through what I gone through just now. Like, I literally almost died in a car accident.
Yeah, Jack Doherty's the victim, everybody. He's misunderstood. It's our fault for being mean to him on social media. Also, him saying this while his mom is literally holding his hand as she kisses his boo-boo like he's a baby. It's not hard to guess how he wound up like this. No, my mom would have been like, are you okay? You're alive? Oh, thank God. That means I can kill you myself. Also, remember that lesson he learned in his tweet, apparently? Well, here it is.
That's a huge lesson. No more driving cars like this in the rain. No more, I don't even know, bro.
No more, I don't know. You're really gonna sit there and blame the rain? What about the, I don't know, texting while driving?
Like, I wasn't even going fast. That's the crazy part. It's just like, just can't drive those cars in the rain.
It's the McLaren's fault. It's the rain's fault. It's everyone on social media being mean to me. I can't stress this enough. This is the empty stare of somebody who actually almost killed somebody and does not care at all. Like, just does not care at all.
Yo, Michael. I'm about to go live.
Yeah, that was him tracking his cameraman down again and making a joke that he needs him to hold the camera once more.
He said, all right, 1 sec, I'm kidding.
I am actually unironically running out of commentary. Like, what is there to say about somebody like this? Also, if you want another indicator of why he's like this, listen to how he talks about his ban.
You got banned.
Why?
It's suspended. I'm fine.
So how are you gonna do your property?
I will. I'll get on banned. Don't worry. It's fine.
I'll get unbanned. Don't worry, it's fine. There's never actually been consequences for my actions at any point within my life ever. I live in a mansion with OnlyFans plastered on the wall. This is insane, actually. Why is OnlyFans plastered on your wall? You know, people like to say, bro, what happened to society? But I'm gonna be real with you. When I look at images like this, I kind of get it. I kind of understand why people say we're cooked. The amount of other things that are happening in the world right now. And unfortunately, the surest way to get media attention is to clash your McLaren while promoting your OnlyFans. All from the comfort of your enormous mansion. The internet... Anyway, his friends then ask him, yo, where's the cameraman? By the way, they don't say, is he okay? They say, why isn't he filming? And Jack's answer to where he is insane.
Why is he filming funeral home or something?
It's to the point where he is like so obviously psychopathic that people in his life, like I think his girlfriend, this McKinley person, they have to make up reasons for why he's like this.
The way Zach copes with things that happen that are like awful is like jokes, but you feel obviously like everything is so sad.
No, McKinley, I don't think it's obvious at all. I have never seen a more unrepentant smirk or sneer, honestly, in my life. He's also got the gambling website plastered on his wall. Bro, this is actually nightmarish. This is unhinged.
I was like, damn, it's how it really feels to go out like every YouTuber.
Bro, every YouTuber is not like this. Where are you? What YouTubers are you watching?
Before your 21st
We ain't making it past 21.
Bro, stop.
Honestly, Jack is free to make all the jokes he wants about dying at 21. I really couldn't care less. But once again, all this falls flat when you think about the fact that he was not the only one in the car. You are endangering and mistreating other people at this point. You don't get to just make it a joke. Anyway, the cameraman is alive. Yay! And that's kind of where the story is for now. Like, to be clear, even if he didn't crash his car on purpose, what he did was still extremely illegal. I'm confused why this is... Why is he... What? I think I'm actually breaking. I think my brain is actually just fried at this point. I have short-circuited in my attempt to understand Jack Doherty. Also, by the way, NBC ends this article by pointing out that when Doherty bought the McLaren, while he was driving his brand new convertible for the first time, he joked in the video that he's going to crash this car. Mark my words. I'm so pissed that I can't say he did this on purpose. It is insanely frustrating to have to say allegedly. I can't just spread rumors in my videos, but I mean, how much of a rumor is it? Honestly, at this point, there's really no two ways around the legal element of this. It's my understanding that Jack currently lives in Florida. I'm on the Florida Department of Transportation's website, .gov, and according to Florida law, operating a motor vehicle while sending or reading data on a wireless communication device is prohibited. You may not do so according to the law. So at the very least, there is this. But again, Jack's own statements and history show that technically this could all be a lot worse for him. But obviously, that's for a court to decide. But yeah, that's on YouTube still. Great. Love it here. So much, actually. Oh man. But that's my take on the situation. Dave's take on the situation is that we should just all go back to the time where we stared at statues for hours instead of influencers, and that's getting increasingly difficult to disagree with. But I'm of course excited to hear your take. I mean, this is the part of the video where a layman would ask you to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment, but I will ask you to enroll, evaluate the video, and submit your feedback. Because I am of course running a 100% completely, totally, all the way, okay, maybe not really, somewhat unaccredited university. Probably. Just ask anybody in the student body and they'll confirm it for you. We're totally legit. And as for me, whether you'll see me in 24 hours or 24 months is honestly anyone's guess, but until then, thanks for watching. Your homework for today is to avoid stupidity in all forms. I promise you this video was enough for one day.